Hello there, I'm Batman. Hey, you, get out of here. Hi there, I'm Deadpool. Nice to meet you.
I'm Tommy Zimmer here at Motor City Comic Con 2013. Why'd you just take over my interview?
Because I feel like I am better than you in every way.
I'm the journalist here. I'm supposed to be what?
Guess what? We're taking over the world! Yeah! Woo! We love you, San Francisco, Michigan!
Creative continuity at Motor City Comic Con. Get the latest news directly from cosplayers, artists, writers, and the occasional celebrity. Tune in for Creative Continuity's coverage of Motor City Comic Con. We bring the convention to you.
The world is dead.
So doomed! Doomed!
So have you gotten that out of your system?
What?
Have you gotten that out of your system?
No!
Talking with actor Edward James Olmos. How'd you begin as an actor?
I started back in 1964 when I took an acting class, and that was my first time in college. And from that moment on, I just moved forward.
What was your first kind of break-in project in Hollywood?
The first thing that I did was where I got my SAG card was Aloha, Bobby and Rose, 1973.
How'd you enjoy working on that series?
It was great. I did it with Bobby Carradine. Him and I worked together. That was my first time when I spoke on screen. So,
how did you transition to series like Miami Vice, Battlestar, Galactica?
Just a matter of being asked to participate, and I had the time and very fortunate. Miami Vice is good. Not as good as Battlestar, but it was good.
Do you think you like Battlestar a little bit more?
Oh, it's a better storylines, yeah. There's no comparison.
Did you enjoy working in kind of that environment down in Miami and stuff?
Yes, I thought it was, at the time when I was doing it, it was very, very progressive, and, you know, MTV had just started, and the kind of quick editing and music that came from MTV was used in Miami Vice. And that's actually how they sold it to NBC, as an MTV cop show. And it was exactly that. It was very commercialized, very romanticized, very glamorized, very gratuitous. All the things that I don't usually use in any of my work, they used it very well there.
How was that much of a challenge for you coming onto the series?
Not at all. It was a blessing, and I had total control of my character, creative control, so I had a wonderful time.
Transitioning to Battlestar, where your imagination probably was able to explode with the possibilities.
That was
universe.
more, I tell you, I really didn't even change a word. Those writers were so advanced that all I did was just hold on to my hat. I did a lot of work in the character makeup of the character, but as far as the dialogue and the situations, boy, that was all writers, and they were brilliant.
What was it like working in that? Maybe, you know, looking at how big it's expanded to and to today, but how was it working in that big a universe?
Well, you know, you have to take it one day at a time, and really you never looked at it in perspective of, you know, what the size of the space and place of your palette is. You were just stuck inside of the reality that humanity had been completely destroyed by the technology that we had created. So. And it's happening today right here on the planet, so it's not too far away from becoming reality.
Do you find that a bit ironic? I mean, that some of these storylines in sci-fi, especially Battlestar, are really predicting some of the things that are happening today?
Yeah, pretty much so. I mean, it was a very strong mirror to society as a whole. Yeah. I mean, I think that Battlestar Galactica probably held up the strongest mirror that's been held up to society as a planet in the history of television. I mean, we dealt with religion, we dealt with right to choose, right to life.
Yeah.
We dealt with terrorism, suicide bombings, waterboarding, children in war. Reconciliation, which is probably the strongest message that we could send.
Oh, yeah.
Reconciliation is the thing that we need to do most of all on this planet.
So how'd you get to start working from the series on to working with Ridley Scott and Blade Runner?
Well, Blade Runner was really the intellectual aesthetic that we used on Battlestar.
Okay.
It actually fed Battlestar, and the integrity that was begotten by that piece of work really bred the integrity of what we used on Battlestar Galactica.
What inspiration did you look? I mean, because you're playing the detective character, you're playing the guy who has to figure things out, but you're also playing the antagonistic role, somewhat going up against Harrison Ford. What inspiration did you take for playing your character?
I just basically got inside of the moment to moment in the situation that we were in.
Okay.
There wasn't really any kind of brain thrust. Where it really became evident was in the cultural dynamic of the show. He had no idea what I was saying. He wasn't smart enough to really realize. He says, in the voiceover, he says, "Oh yeah, every good cop knew what he was saying," but in essence, that was put in after the fact. Once you see the show without the voiceover, what you find is that most people didn't understand what I was saying, and it was good because only if you knew the languages that I was speaking, because I was speaking languages.
Yeah.
But I wasn't speaking just English. I would mix languages together, 4 or 5 at a time.
What was it like going up against Harrison Ford? Working with him. You both have a lot of history under your belt with a filmography, a lot of big films you guys have done. What was it like? Really looking back on that.
It was a wonderful experience. I think Harrison and I had a wonderful time. In essence, it was just a job. And we both enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it more than he did, but we both enjoyed it.
Do you think that Harrison Ford's character was an android?
Yes.
You do think that?
Yes.
Why do you think that?
Because I knew his dreams.
You did?
That's why I left the unicorn there at the base of the elevator. And when he saw it, he realized it and said, he realized that he was an android.
So were you maybe the only human character in that movie?
I wasn't the only one, but I was the only Blade Runner in it. Yeah.
That's got to be, at least when you're putting yourself in that universe, and that futuristic universe, that's got to be almost being a lonesome person almost. Surrounded by, if you take it, he's an android surrounded by all these robots and stuff, and it's got to be a little lonesome for you, I'd imagine.
Not really. I mean, basically we created them. The difficulty with creating technology is that in turn it may come back and bite you, as it did in Battlestar Galactica, much more so than it did in Blade Runner. Blade Runner, I think it came back to kill, its maker, but there was no comparison. I mean, Cylons could rejuvenate themselves. They would die and come right back. And so that, in essence, they were indestructible.
Yeah.
And so the replicant died after 4.5 years. So.
Yeah. There's talk of the Blade Runner sequel, prequel. If you were asked to come back and play your character again, would you consider doing it?
Certainly, but that one's not going to happen. I'm sure that the sequel that will become a Blade Runner will be like Prometheus was for the Alien.
Yeah, like a Prometheus type thing. Like
it's a completely different time period.
Okay. So now I want to talk about Selena, with Jennifer Lopez. That was probably for its time. I mean, going back with the story of Selena, the singer. How did you enjoy really partaking in her life story?
It's the hardest film I've ever made in my life. It was only 15 months actually after the death of Selena is when we started to actually film it, and it wasn't long enough, and basically nobody really wanted to do it.
Yeah.
We did it out of a necessity to make sure that the authentic, real understanding of her life was put forth, because basically there was about 4 other films that were being talked about, 5 books, 3 documentaries. It was really, a lot of people jumped on that story. And the sadness is that what ends up happening is that we end up exploiting.
Yeah.
But in the case of this movie, it was a really celebration, and it was very hard. It was not a movie that, when we would end up doing a scene that was happy and uplifting, we'd stop now, cut, and I'd turn and I would see the father, who was the only one on the set. The rest of the family never came around. And the father would be standing there and heaving sobs with his back to us against the wall. It was terrible. And it became very evident that this was a very, very difficult situation. We did the one scene in the hospital once. That was it. We did not do 2 takes, 3 takes, 5 takes. We did it once, and that was it.
What was it like playing with Jennifer Lopez in that story?
It was great. I think it's Jennifer Lopez's finest performance to date. I think she should have won the Oscar for it.
Oh, wow.
By far, the most intensely beautiful performance that I've seen done in a long, long time. It was so encompassing. She embodied that character full-heartedly. She lost Jennifer and became, Selena.
How'd you get on Dexter?
I was invited to come on board, and they told me the storyline. And as soon as they told me that the character was really never there, I said, "No, I understand." And that's the only reason I did it. Had the character been there, he really did those things, I wouldn't have been involved. I really wouldn't have.
What was it like working with maybe a psychotic character like Dexter, who is almost in a comedic range almost of a series?
I never worked with him.
Okay.
I only worked with Travis, which was Colin Hanks. He was the only person that could see me. So
what was it like?
I never worked with Michael C. Hall.
Okay. What was it like kind of being the invisible voice almost?
No one knew. We never played that I was the invisible voice. So it was quite interesting because nobody knew. Colin didn't know. The directors didn't know. The other actors didn't know. Nobody knew except for myself and the producer.
Okay.
The writers, I'm sure, knew, but they didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell anyone. So until the 9th episode, nobody knew that I was in a refrigerator.
What was it like in that 9th episode?
It was great. I mean, I really appreciated the impact of that moment.
What do you have coming up?
We have Two Guns, which is coming out in August, and we have Philly Brown that's out on theaters now, and I have Go for Sisters, John Sayles' new movie, which I'm working on.
Okay.
And it'll be out at the end of this year.
And this is Tommy Zimmer signing off.
Sorry, but you got to get over that. Well, because I have no superhuman powers, I have to work twice as hard as everybody else. Sometimes we all have to do that. Deadpool.
Do you know about Bestow Productions? We're the area's leader in video production. We provide quality, award-winning, and professional work in television commercial advertising, video for the web, video content for direct distribution, video on demand, and so much more. Give us a call at 570-486-4948 and see what Bestow can do for you. And now you know.